Welcome, everyone, to Recovering Wholeness Together with Lynn and Andrea. And I'm Andrea. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Philadelphia, which is the traditional land of the Lenape people. I'm in recovery from alcohol, anxiety, disordered eating, loss, grief, an empty nest, lots of other things too. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I'm a certified professional recovery coach, a She Recovers designated coach, Reiki level 3 master practitioner, artist, mom, friend. To Lynn, would you like to welcome yourself?
Thank you. That's a lot. I always forget all of mine. So I am Lynn. I am in the San Francisco East Bay area, which is the traditional territory of the Bay Miwok people. I am in recovery from alcohol use disorder, childhood trauma, anxiety, some health issues, autoimmune issues, lack mentality, probably lots of other things too. I too am a designated She Recovers Foundation coach. I am a Reiki level 3 master practitioner. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother of a adorable 2-year-old little boy who has speech delay. So we're working on that. And I'm a board certified behavior analyst. And for the past 25 years, I've worked with people with developmental disabilities from ages 2 up until like their 70s. And one of my favorite things is to do this webcast with my friend Andrea. And one of the people that I've known for several years now through She Recovers Foundation is Nadine Braithwaite, right? Okay, Nadine Braithwaite. And I have some notes here that I'm gonna just be referencing. She's also like a wife and a mother, and she's very creative, and she's an artist. And she'll probably talk about loving her animals and work training volunteers for She Recovers. I'm gonna let her kind of share and introduce herself. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. Usually we start talking about Reiki and how Reiki is a tool in recovery. We especially invited Nadine. I wanted to invite her here because I feel like recovery isn't nearly as effective without community. And when I started thinking about community and I wanted to do a community theme for this, and Andrea was like, yeah, let's do community, it was a really, really easy choice. Like Nadine is to me who represents She Recovers community. Somebody that just welcomes everybody in, makes you feel like you belong, makes you know like how you can find all the answers and who to talk to, and just really a welcoming, friendly person that has made my recovery journey better. So, welcome, Nadine. And please
Thank you.
feel free to introduce yourself more, share a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you for that introduction. I got tears. Um, so I'm Nadine Braithwaite. So I go by she, her. I live just outside Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, in a little teeny tiny town called Douglas, Ontario. Um, our land is the Anishinaabe Algonquin peoples. Um, so yeah, I joined She Recovers 5 years ago. Um, Not sober. And I definitely struggled for the first year that I was in She Recovers. I think I showed up, and Dawn always says this, I showed up every day crying. I couldn't get 24 hours, and it was really, really hard. But I just kept coming and kept showing up until it clicked, until it worked. Which sounds a lot easier said than done. Um, so yeah, I'm in recovery from alcohol, PTSD, mild OCD, which a lot of people don't know about, anxiety, depression, grief, disordered eating, and that is one that I really struggle with now. Bulimia, anorexia, body dysmorphia. Um, and I also am in recovery, and I say this a lot as of late. I'm in recovery from racism. Um, I, I've recently looked at that, and I think it's really important, just like anything that we're in recovery from. I can. Do you want me to list my volunteer stuff, Lynn or and Andrea? Yeah. I'm a volunteer for She Recovers. I started volunteering, I would say, in the last year. I am the lead Facebook guardian for the She Recovers Facebook page. I wrote them down because I'm going to forget. Um, I'm on the Canadian board of directors for She Recovers. I was on the US board, but I've recently moved to the Canadian board of directors. Um, I am also a volunteer for the Moms of High Needs meetings, gatherings. That is a very near and dear meeting to my heart because I have a son, Liam, who is 14 on the autism spectrum. Um, I'm a volunteer Facebook admin for the Black, Latina, Asian, Indigenous Women of Color. Um, I'm going to be facilitating for that as well coming up. I know I'm missing something. Uh, oh, and I'm a host for the daily gatherings as well on the She Recovers gatherings. I've recently become a host in the last month. I'm also right now, well, kind of, sort of, starting to really work on getting my coaching certification. So the dual coaching, um, life and recovery coach. So it's a slow process, but I'm working on it. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. Um, I definitely take a lot of pride in what I do with She Recovers. I am that person that will welcome the newcomer. I know what it was like to be on that meeting and to be there the first day and not know anybody. And I feel like it's always really nice to have someone reach out to you and just say, "Hey, I see you, and if you need anything, I'm here." So that's a really big thing that I do. It it definitely makes people feel good about themselves and just about the gathering, and that there are a lot of kind people out there. We all come from different recovery backgrounds, and um, we don't know what they're coming in with and what they've experienced. So it's nice to have a welcoming and supportive group. And I'm definitely not the only person. There are a lot of people that do that. And I think it's really important. And it's what makes our community so wonderful because people feel welcome. I do love when people share and said Nadine was the first person that reached out to me, because it's like, yes, like, because it's so important to me. It really is. Um yeah, that's a little bit about me. I will say too, I am also I was a volunteer for an animal rescue. I'm no longer the volunteer because I kept all the cats. So I have 6 cats. Um, I moved up here 2 years ago into the country in Douglas, and I had 2 cats. And then I fostered, and they probably saw sucker written on my head because they thought, oh, we're going to use her for sure. And then I ended up with all the kitties that I fostered, and my husband said, okay, no more. We're not doing this anymore. We got 6. So I definitely, and they're all different personalities. They all actually remind me a lot of all of us in recovery because some of them have come from really different traumas and backgrounds. And one of them, Hugo, that always is very, very, well, they're all special, but one of them, Hugo, it took him 2 months to warm up to me and let me even pet him. And I just would get on the ground with him in the basement and give him his food and put my hand out. And it was like a one day at a time with him. And it reminded me a lot of me in active addiction. And then the way he is now is he'll get on his back and show his belly, and he'll purr and he'll headbutt us. But that took him a very long time. And I don't know what happened to him, but something really bad happened to him. Um, and he's very afraid of men. It took him about 8 months to warm up to my husband. And now, again, he does the same thing. But he reminds me so much of all of us in recovery. And he's just like a walking example of what we all deal with, from active addiction to recovery, and our traumas, and how we evolve and blossom and learn to trust people. So yeah, he's a very special one for sure. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Nadine. What a beautiful introduction and such a fantastic metaphor. It makes sense that that would be something that's so meaningful in your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a little bit about your recovery journey, whatever feels comfortable for you about what brought you to recovery?
Yeah. So I say this when I tell my story, this is what I say, and everybody is different. I had a rock bottom. I had um I'm married, and I have one son, Liam, and I was drinking. I would say my active addiction, the really bad part of my active addiction, lasted about 5 years, and I it's hard to talk about, but I attempted suicide, and I was almost successful. Um, and that was the last time I drank. Um, my husband said, after, when I was in the hospital, he's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm taking our son, and we're going to have to figure out, what the future looks like, but I don't think it's going to be together, because I can't raise Liam in this. This is not safe for him. So I ended up moving to my aunt's. Um, and I was there a month. I had supervised visits with my son, with my aunt being there. My husband didn't speak to me for a month. Um, and I recovered from the attempted suicide, which was very hard, because I recovered not alone. I had my family, but I didn't have my husband and my son. And that was, for me, my rock bottom. The coming so close to suicide, and what I did, um, and how long I was hospitalized. I think I was hospitalized 6 days. Um, the fact that I almost didn't make it was really scary, when I finally, when the fog finally lifted and everything wore off. And then I had a bigger problem. Well, just as big of a problem in my mind, is I was going to lose my son and my husband, the two things that were the most precious to me. So time went on. My husband came around, thankfully. He said, let's go talk. And we ended up talking in a parking lot, in a coffee shop parking lot. And he said, I love you and I don't want to leave, but we need to do this differently. And he said, I will support you in whatever you need to do, but the alcohol has to stop. So I definitely got into recovery for my son, and my marriage. Um, and stay in recovery for myself. But I would say I'm coming up to 4 years sober, November 25th of this year. But I would say the first 3 years, I was doing it for Liam, my son, and my marriage. The last almost year, I'm doing it for me, and that feels really good, and that's really peaceful and freeing. When you're doing it for someone else, you're not quite grasping everything, to me. Like, you're not, I mean, I wasn't fully absorbing it all. Because I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this for Liam. Like, I can't drink because of Liam. I don't want to let Liam down. But that shift, and I don't know where that shift happened, but somewhere it happened along the way. And it was like, oh, I'm actually worthy enough to do it for me. And I actually, like, I'm worth it. And I don't love myself, but I do like myself. And that's a lot. That's saying a lot from where I was 3 years ago, because I hated myself. I couldn't even look in the mirror. So the fact that I can just like myself a little tiny bit, we're getting there, baby steps. And I'm very honest about that. Like, I don't love myself. I don't have full self-worth yet, but I kind of have a little bit. And that's a lot more than it was before. So that tells me I'm doing something right. But yeah, and a lot of people that come into She Recovers that I've met don't have a rock bottom. They just, one day sometimes wake up and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. And then some people have a really big rock bottom, jail, DUIs, things like that. So we're all so different, and there's no right or wrong way. And that's another thing that I say to a lot of people. There's no right or wrong way to do recovery. And if we slip, or if we relapse, or if we lapse, whatever people call it, I believe in every lapse, there's a lesson. And whether you know what that lesson is in that moment, or in 5 years from now, there's a lesson in it. And the universe is giving you information. Because the first year um, that I was in She Recovers, I mean, I relapsed every day. So I was like, okay, today I'm not doing it. I'm not drinking. And then by 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, boom, I was in it. And it was the same thing over and over again. So I had a lot of relapses, and in every single one, there was a lesson. There was something being told to me. And I don't know it all yet, but I know a lot of it now. And I think that I always say to people, like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Cause I was the most stubborn, like, I'm not doing this. Like, I know what I'm doing, and drinking is it. Like, I got this. And then it's like, you got it until you don't got it. So yeah, that's a little bit about my, how I got into recovery. It's a little messy, but we're here.
It's real. It's very
Yeah, it's
real.
real. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And as a person who I do feel like I had a rock bottom, maybe multiple rock bottoms, I feel like it's really brave to talk about it. And I think it's so encouraging for other women in recovery to know that a person can come so far in such a short amount of time. My goodness, yes,
Yeah.
that first year was really difficult, but look at all the things that you're doing now for yourself. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Nadine, what's something that surprised you about yourself in your recovery journey?
Hmm. Surprised me. I didn't think that I could function without alcohol. I thought that I would need alcohol for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I now look at that as, I had this aha moment. My husband and I were in a restaurant, and I saw somebody drinking, and I was sober. And he was talking to me, and I don't even remember what he was saying. And I looked at him, I was like, oh my God. He's like, what? I said, do you know that I can never drink again? And he's like, Yeah, I kind of knew that." I'm like, "No, no, seriously, like, I can never drink again." And I was watching somebody drink at another table, and it came to me like this, like, switch that went off. And I said, "Mark, I can never drink again." And he's like, "No, I kind of knew that." I'm like, No, but I didn't." And I was about 2 years in. I said, "Alcohol can never touch my mouth, because if it does, it's dangerous what I could do." And that was such a big healing moment for me, and also a moment of, like, clarity that I'm doing this for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not doing this just for 6 months or a year or 2 years. This is for forever. And I also know that some people don't ever get there, and they think that maybe they can they can dabble in it. I had I drank and drove. I, did all kinds of things that I shouldn't have been doing. My judgment was very skewed. So I know that I put a lot of people in danger, including my child and myself and other people. So I know that when alcohol comes into this body, we don't have that sound judgment. We don't have any of that. So it cannot come into my body. And that is something that really surprised me, because the first couple of years I was sober, I was like, I'm just doing it for now. I'm just doing it for now. I'll get back to where maybe I could have one or two. I can't. And I'm really, really okay with that. And I'm really at peace with that, because I really thought that I would definitely end up going back into it. So that was something that really surprised me, and that I can actually function well without it, and deal. with life and anxiety and PTSD and all the things, and be okay without it. Yeah.
Did you grieve it at all? Like it's almost like a friend, right? Alcohol is your
Oh,
best friend. And I feel like there's a like, that loss.
yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I grieved it like it was a death in the family of somebody very close to me. I
Mhm,
grieved it for so long. For the first 2 years, I would say every day, I was envious of people that could drink and just have one.
mhm,
For about 8 months, I didn't go to restaurants because I was angry. Because I'd watch people, I'm like, see, they had one. And I was obsessed with it. I really was. I was obsessed with getting to that bottom of why they can do it and I can't. And I don't have that answer. I just know I can't. But I was really mad because the alcohol did something to me. It relaxed me in that initially it relaxed me. I didn't have to think. I numbed out. I didn't have to feel. But with that also came, I was missing out on my kid. I was missing out on moments with my family. I didn't show up for Christmas because I was passed out in a bedroom. So but there was a lot of grief and a lot of anger that came with it. Until I had that moment in that restaurant where it was like that aha moment, like I can't drink. And being so, even to this day, like that, I've never changed my mind about that, and being so at peace with that. But there is, and everybody is different, there is a grieving period for sure. And some people it could last longer than 2 years. Some people it might be 6 months. Some people it might be never. But there is, or, a couple of days. But there is, I think, a grieving period for sure. Because it's like our best friend. It really is. So we think. So we think. Yeah.
Is
worst enemy, best friend, same thing.
Yeah, it's like an abusive relationship, really. It really is being in that, right? It's the love-hate of what it gives us, right? Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say, Nadine, to somebody that's new to recovery, where to even begin, right?
Mm,
What are some practices that you use to cope with those big feelings? What are some things that you learned through your journey that you might encourage women to do if they're
yeah.
just starting out?
I help a lot of people who are very new into recovery, and I don't talk about this very often because um it's not something that I'm not going to say it's not something I care to share. It's just what I do, and I think that's why I want to be a coach. So I'm helping a few people right now that are not sober, some that are days sober, and we stay connected. So staying connected, whether it's one person or three people. If you can check in with someone, and sometimes it's a little overwhelming to say daily, but if you can check in with someone even every other day or a few times a week, it does help you stay accountable. Because, if I have to tell someone I drank, I'm going to be a little more responsible about it than if I didn't have to tell anybody, right? I also, a big thing that I say to people is there's no shame. So if you go 3 days and then you relapse, there's no shame. It happened. So I always say we dust ourselves off, we get back up again, and tomorrow's a new day. It For me, it was very much all or nothing. So it was like, well, if I drank Monday, well, I got to drink the rest of the week now. I mean, I blew it. And it was like that for me. I wish somebody would have told me, you don't have to drink the rest of the week. You drank Monday, you don't have to drink Tuesday. But I looked at it as a very all or nothing type thing. So that's what I would definitely say is like it's literally one day at a time, like AA says. And I don't come from AA, but I use a couple little things that I find are very important, which is the one day at a time, the serenity prayer, which I love. But definitely you don't have to blow the week, just because even if you drank the same day, you don't have to drink for the rest of the day. You can stop. So that is really important. And I wish somebody would have told me that. I just didn't have people around me at the time. I didn't have the connections or She Recovers at first where I could have somebody tell me that. The no shame is a big one because we carry a lot of shame when we've done it. So I tell people, if you're going to tell me you drank, know that I'm not looking differently at you. I did it too. So just let's talk about it, and let's just kind of pick it apart a little bit so that we can quiet that shame. Um, and that, you're worthy is a big one. Because I
Mm.
think when we drink, we think like I'm an awful person. And something that Dawn always said that really helped me get through a lot of my lapses is the stuff that we did is the stuff that we did. It's not who we are. That messiness and that, whether it's a DUI or the drinking and driving or the blackout or whatever it is, it's not who I am. It was my behavior. And I did that because I was hurting. And we act this way because there's something inside of us that's hurting so badly that we need to do this to ourselves. But it's not who we are. And that's really, really important to me. I even use that to this day. If I make a mistake, it's like, Nadine, you're not your mistake. You just, you screwed up, You're not that though. And that's really important.
To know that when you say Don, from I don't know who our viewers are, but you're referring to Don Nickel, who's the
Don Nickel.
co-founder of She Recovers. I just want to
Yeah.
point that out. So just to follow on that thread, tell us about the role that community and sisterhood play in your recovery and how that's one of the tools that you use.
Yeah. I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be alive today if I didn't have She Recovers, if I didn't have Don Nickel, if I didn't, and I'm lucky that I have a really close, nice relationship with Dawn. She's held me up in some really hard days. If I didn't have the community, I can show up any way I am, whether I'm having a good day or a bad day. And I think that's really important that we in recovery need to be able to show up how we are. We don't need to mask it. There's so much in this world that we have to mask and we have to pretend to be. I don't think that we should have to be like that in community. And I think that is something that Dawn and Taryn have really created for all of us. um, I see it in the coaches, which you both are. I see the authenticity. I see the honesty. I see the rawness, even when you both show up and you're facilitating. Because just because we're facilitating, it doesn't mean that you're having a good day too at times. Like we're all human. And I think we can just show up in that humanness. And I was taught I was raised in a house where you had to be perfect and you had to look a certain way. And if you were dying inside, you still had a pretty dress on and your hair pulled back and this big smile. And inside I was dying inside and I had to show up like that. And She Recovers and community has taught me you don't have to do that. You don't have to pretend anymore. You can just be who you are and you can show up the way you want to be. And I think everybody who comes into She Recovers realizes that at some point. It's like, oh, I can actually be who I am. I don't have to pretend. So that's a really big one for me.
Yes, and I feel like you embody that. One thing that we have in common that I love about you is you're super creative. And right now you have sparkly hair and you have tattoos.
Mm.
I hope it's okay that I say that.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so I wonder how is it for you to show up in your authenticity today versus what life was like maybe 5 years ago?
Ooh, I got chills. I got chills. I get to be who I am. I am tattooed. I'm a walking billboard. I've got tattoos on my hands. But every one of my tattoos means something. And I've got them all in the last 4 years, most of them in the last 4 years. I do have sparkly hair and I have a color for every season. I I did a lot of inner child work. So the first 3.5 years of my recovery, I did a lot of inner child work, and I learned that my 5-year-old and my teen really love this stuff, like the tattoos, the sparkle, the welcoming the newcomer, like it's exciting thing, art, creating. And I've really excelled with that because I never thought that my ideas or my um, creativity, like the creativeness was enough or worthy, like it wasn't worth seeing. Um, until I started, recovering and healing and learning, like, oh, that's what I like. I like being creative. Um, I like, I've got all these tattoos on my hands. One of them that I recently got is stay on my finger. By the way, if you get tattoos on your hands, it hurts. Like it really hurts.
I
And I
haven't
have
done
them
that yet.
all over, and I'm like, yeah, let's do another one on my hand. And my artist is like, are you sure? So the recent one I got was stay, and that's for my suicide attempts, and that was really important. And then on my other finger, I have sober. So stay sober, but also stay. So, like, I have tattoos like that. I have one step at a time on my ankle. I have pink, the pink logo, because I'm obsessed with the singer Pink, because she's authentic and real too, right? So yeah, I love creativity, and I love if somebody has purple hair, or is wearing an outfit that's rainbow, or like, I love that stuff. I think it's so cool, and I think we need more of that in the world. I think we all just need to be ourselves and walk the way we want to walk and we want to be, and I don't think we have enough of that. So yeah, that's who I am. And my son rolls his eyes. He's like, you put another color in your hair this month? It's like, yeah, this, it's getting close to Christmas, so we're doing red. It's the summer, so we're doing rainbow. And it's just who I am. So, you know what? The way I say it to Liam is like, if you don't like it, don't look, But he's like, well, it's kind of blinding. The sun always like sparkles off your hair, but it is what it is. So, yeah. So creativity is a big thing for sure.
Thank you for
Someday
that.
he's gonna appreciate it. He's a teenager, but
I know.
when he's an adult, he's gonna be like, my mom's a badass.
Yeah, I keep telling him I'm cool, but he's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a gift to him as an adolescent, right? A young teen, to have a mom who is true to herself unapologetically, right? And, that's something that I think for me, when I look back on my recovery, and I did also stop getting more and more tattoos with more years of sobriety,
Yeah.
just saying to myself that I'm going to do what I want to do with my body and be okay with it. And I think the message was received by my kids that, it's important that you be yourself, and other people will always have their opinions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful gift as a parent to give your kid.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. I think Liam does see that. He's big into aviation. He's actually practicing to be a pilot, and my husband's training him because my husband is a pilot, and he can solo at 14 years old in Canada. I mean, that's wild to me, but he can, and he's got hours of flying. But I get some of his clothes made, custom made, and it has like the Boeing logo, or 777, which is some big airplane. And I get him little things made from a friend who has a press, who can make like different logos on clothing. So he even expresses himself, even though he doesn't realize it. He expresses himself with his clothing. And there are people at school that are like, what the heck does your shirt say? Like, what is that? And he's told me about that, where he's been picked on about it. And I'm like, you get to be you, and you get to decide what you want to wear. And if people don't understand that, that's their problem. It's not yours. But it's hurtful and it's hard, because there are people that look at me with tattoos. I'm also a woman of color, like, there are people that will judge, but we get to be what we want to be, because I think I hid for so long. I hid for so long. I don't want to hide. I don't want to hide anymore. And I don't want to teach my kid that he has to hide. So we get to be ourselves, and that's really important. And um, I think that's why people can gravitate to me. I've had people say to me, "I've heard your shares, and you're so raw and honest, and you just show up right where you are." And it's true. I have to, because if I don't, I'm not being true to myself or my sobriety. So yeah, it's really important.
want to follow up on you guys sharing about what a gift sobriety is and recovery is. One of the first ways that I connected with you, Nadine, was that you made me a friendship bracelet, a beaded bracelet that you sent to me. And I didn't really understand it. I just knew people were talking about it. Like Nadine makes bracelets and you can ask her for a bracelet. And I was like, okay, I want a bracelet. I didn't even know what I was new to She Recovers. I'm like, what's this bracelet thing? And you didn't want money for it, and you didn't want like I did say, like, can I send you something? And there was just like you didn't even respond. So what I want to ask you though is you're a helper, you're a giver, like
Mhm.
everybody would define you that way. How hard is it to as part of the recovery process to maybe allow people to give back to you?
Mm, that's a really good question. Um, so I come from a family where when they gave, my parents, when they gave, a hidden, there was a hidden, can't
I
find the
get it.
words. There,
Yep.
yeah, there was like a hidden agenda.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So we'll buy you a car. I need to see your kid every day, right?
There's the but always. Yep.
But, right? So I fell for it quite a few times because I was in need. Like I was a little teenager that didn't have money, and then I stopped. And then it was like shoved over to me. It was like, here's your check. I'm like, I don't want it. Here it is. No, I don't want it. So when I all that to say, I'm a big giver. I love to give. I love getting, what I love receiving is that message saying, "Oh my God, I just got your envelope and I was having the worst day and I really needed this today." That is my gift. And you're right, Lynn. Like every time I say, "Can I have your address? I'd love to send you a little something." They're like, "Oh my God, give me your address too." And I'm like, "Nope." And I don't. I should. I probably should learn to let people give to me. I'm working on that. But I don't want people to think that I'm giving to receive because that's not who I am. And I've been questioned a lot when I'm like, love to send you a little something. And they're like, no, 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 it's okay. And it's like, oh, okay. Because we all have different traumas and backgrounds we come from too, where, they might have gone what I went through. But I truly, truly, genuinely don't expect in return because I love that little message that's like, wow, I just checked the mail. You made my day. And I
Mm.
just opened your card, whether it's a card or a little bookmark or a bracelet or just a card like with just a little sticker in it, whatever it is, it really does make me so happy. And that really brings me joy. But you're right. I probably could let people um give to me too, but that's how they give to me is their happiness.
Think
Yeah.
that as I don't know, I'm not going to speak for Andrea, but just for me, like it feels safer to give than to receive. And so I wondered if
Yes.
you related to that because I noticed that, in our exchange, and I'm not telling you to change anything. This wasn't like an admonition that you need to like accept gifts
No.
back. It was just that, like I just kind of like it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's very safe to give because then you're like, okay, it's done. I don't, have no expectations. But when
Yeah.
it's reciprocal, then it becomes almost contractual.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I don't. I mean, if someone does send me something now from She Recovers, like if it's a community member, I don't look at it like the way I did with my parents. If it was outside She Recovers, I probably would. It would be a little more complicated. I feel like She Recovers is like a different breed of community, right? We don't live She Recovers in the real world. I wish we did. But yeah, in my life, I think I do have trouble accepting gifts from people because I think, like, what do they want in return? Whereas with our community, it's very different because we're such a different group of people. So, yeah, but unfortunately, She Recovers, I wish it was bigger, but I wish the real world was a lot more like the way we were trauma informed and kind and compassionate and so many other things. But we're working on it. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Mm.
Come to Canada.
You're an
Yes.
ambassador.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to mention that I am wearing a Nadine original bracelet today. Um,
Aw.
it's from years ago. I don't remember when I got it. I wish I did, but it says, "Today I choose happiness."
Hmm.
And that has me thinking about our values and strengths, something that we talk about a lot as coaches with our clients. And it seems like you've done such a great job of identifying your own values, like kindness and compassion, and your strengths, like being a giver and a helper. I
Hmm.
wonder, so for me, and I would say for Lynn too, because we're Reiki practitioners, the Reiki precepts are seen as kind of guideposts for living. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering if there's something that you see, whether it's, a mantra, a prayer, some kind of reading or text that feels like it's a guidepost for living for you and your recovery.
Yeah. The um, the Serenity Prayer is a big one for me. The part of the Serenity Prayer that was a really, really big one. And I'm probably gonna mess it up because I'm a little nervous, but God, to accept the things that I cannot change. And that sentence, accept the things I cannot change, has gotten me through a lot in my recovery. There are so many things in this world that are out of my control. And it's it's going to happen whether it's going to happen, right? It's how do I react to it? Um how do I show up for it? For I'd say the first couple of years of my sobriety, I'm like, it's not fair. It's not fair. This is not fair. And then it's like, okay, but it's not fair. But what are you going to do about it? Well, there's nothing I can do about it because it's somebody else's reaction. It's something happening somewhere else. There's nothing I can do about it. And I took that it's not fair to, I'm going to have to just accept the things I cannot change. Um, and you know, carry that as, what are you going to change with the things that you can, and what are you going to do with the control that you do have? Because control was a very big one for me, that I needed to be in control all the time. And if I wasn't in control, it was going to heck in a handbasket. And now I'm just like, well, sometimes we just don't have control over things. One other inspiration that I have, well, no, two others. I'm a lot with like I want strong, accomplished, really like amazing women that are like just you know brave and loud and talk about women's rights and all the things. I love Michelle Obama. I love her. I saw Elizabeth Gilbert in Chicago at a She Recovers conference. I'm a little obsessed with her. I'm listening to her new book, All the Way to the River. I adore her. Absolutely adore her. And a male that I'm actually really surprised that I kind of like, okay, there's a male that I kind of really like, Jay Shetty. I really like him. He has the bluest eyes, green and blue eyes. But he does a lot I watch him a lot on Instagram, and I really like his talks. And another male, actually, Gabor Mate. He was a really big inspiration for me in my early recovery as well. So, and Pink, of course, too, because she's badass. But yeah, those I look to people. I look to people that I feel are authentic, are real, show up the way they show up, no matter what is going on or who says what about them. And I feel that those few people have proven that to me and shown me that, and they really inspire me. And Pink has had a lot of horrible things said to her, and she just keeps showing up with her daughter and her son and keep doing what she's doing, and she doesn't care. Well, I'm sure she cares, but she just lets it roll off and try to keep doing what she's doing. And she's been very successful at it. So, yeah.
Yeah, Nadine, I think that you're one of those people. You really
Aw.
inspire me. I've been listening to you on meetings for a long time, and just the things that you do for other people and for yourself.
Oh,
Um,
thanks, Andrea.
truly, truly
And
remarkable.
that gave me chills when you've held up that bracelet. Like that just means so much. And I know I sent that to you a while ago, and it's just like, wow, you still have it and you still wear it. Like that is just really cool to me.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you.
I still have mine and still wear mine, and I couldn't remember this morning because I was going to wear mine too. I couldn't remember where I put it, but when Andrea shared, I was like, oh, it's in my makeup bag for my travel kit. So I still have it.
Aw, so sweet. I love it. I just started making those bracelets again because I stopped for a while and I just started making them again. But now we're on a postal strike, so I can't send them. But when my husband travels to the States, I'm like, you're going to have mail to take. And I did that last year when we had a postal strike. So he's like, okay, well, I think I'm going to the States in a week. So get your mail ready because it's got to be sent. So yeah, I love it.
Oh,
Thank you for joining us and sharing. I want to kind of wrap this up and just thank you there's so much that you've shared about community and great tools for people that are new to recovery. Any last words or thoughts that you have for any of our listeners, watchers?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. This is been an honor. It really, truly has. I was so honored when you asked me to do this. So thank you both, and you both inspire me so much. Last words. Um, one day at a time, and you've got this. Those are always what I say to people because I know that people who are listening are all in different, probably all in different areas of their life. And if they're struggling, if they're having a good day, um, those are the things that I would say for sure. And reach out to me anytime and I'll have my contact info. And I mean that. I truly mean that.
yes. I know you mean that.
I do. Yes.
Thank you,
Can
Nadine.
find any of us at the She Recovers website. Nadine, Nadine said, she is the one of the moderators, admins for the Facebook group, so definitely active there. Andrea and I, excuse me, are listed in the coaches section if you want to reach out to us. But we're all here for you and we'll welcome you with open arms, authentically, just as you are. So thank you for joining us, Nadine. Nadine, sorry, Nadine.
That's okay. That's okay.
I've been
Thank you
calling
for
you
having me.
Nadine in my mind for so long, and then this morning she's like, "It's Nadine." So
That's okay.
I
That's
will
okay.
get there.
That's okay.
Andrea, any last words from you?
No, I just feel so grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful to know both of you. I feel like you've both been such um, lights in my recovery, and I can't thank you enough for that and for the work that you do for other women in recovery. So, yeah, thanks for being here today. This is
Thank
I
you. Thank you
gotcha.
both. Yeah.
You are my inspiration to be a coach, Andrea.
Oh, I love
well,
that.
I can't wait for Nadine's clients because they are going to be some
Yeah,
very lucky individuals.
Oh, thank you. Thank
100%.
you.
Thanks, everyone. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.